All right, welcome back to the basement. This is Footballin'. I'm Ben. He's Spence, and we are back after our second bye week of the year.
You know, someone had to do it, and it was us.
We
did it.
Then when we were getting ready to start this, we forgot how to do it and what to do.
Well,
because you get you're a little rusty.
You get a little rusty.
Sometimes I would notice that sometimes coming off the bye week, you feel really good.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a quarter or something to get you, maybe a half.
First 15 minutes of this is gonna be rough, ladies and gentlemen.
So much so, I'm drinking a Celsius.
This is brought to you by WD-40. Been knocking the rust off since 1804.
Rust-Oleum. Yeah. So anyway, we're back. We don't know what's going on. There's, we do have obviously some Steeler news to talk about because again, this is like the time of year where there's not a lot going on. There are some trades happening. Obviously, a huge one with the Steelers that we definitely have to dive into. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. Seems like every week we're like, well, what are we going to talk about this week? There always seems to be like a little nugget that they give us, but that's about it.
It does feel like. More so than any other year, this has been like the Real Housewives of Pittsburgh. Like the drama in the offseason this year has been insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy, man.
It has been. And obviously, speaking of the Minkah news, we need to dive right into it, but maybe we should dive right into it because there's not much else to talk about.
Well,
but
let's get into it.
I guess it's going to be one of those things. You know what it's going to be like this offseason feels like there's not a lot of news, like typically. And then you're right, we get these like,
yeah.
And it's going to be like, where were you when?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, my boys are like huge into football, right? They kind of have the trading card. So they'll be like, is this guy good, Dad? And this guy, like the older guys, like they'll be like, is Eli Manning good, Dad? Or like, I'm just like guys that they don't.
Ask Tom Brady.
Yeah. And so they'll ask me guys like, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he? I'm like, well, probably going to be this, that, and the other, like whoever it is. And so, but they're obviously diehard Steeler fans, right?
Yeah.
So they're huge into the Steelers and this, that, and the other. And actually, I need to go back to the jersey thing. Remind me to go back to jerseys because I don't want to forget that, but I want to go all over the place. So we're down. We spent the 4th down at the lake, which we can kind of talk about. And I was on the golf course, and I was in the cart because the boys were up hitting. And I got my phone, ESPN alert comes, and it's Minkah traded. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah, bro.
So I was like, hey, Jam. He's like, yeah. I'm like, we just traded. No, how did I say it first? No, I said this. I said, we got Jalen Ramsey just signed with the Steelers. And he was like, Benjamin was like, no way. Jalen Ramsey? That's awesome. Oh, man, we're going to kill it. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? I said, but you know what? We also traded Minkah away. And they were like,
that was the response of the city.
Floor, like it's the old cartoon, the jaw hits the floor. And then so he yells across the golf, Bodie, we just traded Minkah. Yeah, we got Jalen Ramsey, but we traded Minkah. So they were like hyped, but then like no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like, I know I was on the 16th hole, Great Waters, and I know exactly where I was sitting when I told him. But no, I was gonna say with the jerseys. It feels like so a football Steeler jersey is a big auction, not an auction. It's a big gift item. The boys all want jerseys, right? So I had told them that they couldn't get anybody in the AFC North. Like they wanted other jerseys, right? Like they wanted I think I want to say I know there's a Saquon Barkley in this house, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think there's a Christian McCaffrey. But they wanted like Jamar Chase.
Can't do that.
No, I'm like, no AFC North. I'm just, y'all can't do AFC North stuff. No, not happening. But the Steeler ones obviously are huge. So in this house, there have been James Connors, Freiermuth.
A Juju one?
There's a Juju one at one point. Yes, there is a Highsmith. I mean, all these ones are still in the house. But recently, I think it was Christmas this last year, they each got like 2, I think. And they got a Naj.
Okay.
A Naj, Alex, Minkah, and Pickens. No joke. So let's think about those now.
1 out of 4 ain't bad.
We're batting 25%.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And it's like it's like because when you're going to this, when you're thinking about jerseys to get,
you're
you're looking at like, okay, who's going to be here for a while, and you're thinking like all those felt pretty steady. I mean, there was some stuff about, potentially George, but he's still young, still had some years. Like, he got to be here for at least a couple years.
Yeah, but you know how y'all do wide receivers, bro.
Man. And so now they have one left. Alex, Steelers, you dare get rid of Alex. For lots of reasons.
You burn the city
For
down.
lots of reasons. Hey, Bodie. Bodie's peeking his head down.
What's up, bro?
Bodie just held up a sign. Can I watch the show?
Yeah, it airs at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll be on tonight, Bo.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, you can stay there, pal.
There's a chair right there.
But anyway, yeah. So
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, the jaws dropped. They couldn't believe it. I kind of was. I would say I was caught off guard a little bit with it too. Mm-hmm. I think I feel like I may go all over the place with this, and I may bounce around with my thoughts. But I'm gonna try and hit as many things as I can, and hopefully it opens up some conversation and not just me speaking. But I guess the first place I would go with this is I know that there had been some talks in the last kind of year, I'd maybe call it 2 years, of just like maybe lack of production. Like I shouldn't say this, splash plays. It's not. It's less. And I don't have the analytics. I don't have the stats in front of me. This is all eye test.
Sure.
And what I hear and what you see and things like that. People had talked about the lack of interceptions, the lack of splash, the big play wasn't there for Minkah the last year or two. And so it kind of felt like, okay, they weren't real maybe happy with it, but I didn't think that all of us but it got to this point, right? I had heard some things that, I think Minkah have a little one or something. Did you hear that? I thought there was something where there was like something at home was going on.
Maybe I'm not sure.
And again, all not positives, but it was kind of like, okay, it was going to get, and then I guess I'm just kind of going all over the place. Those are rumblings, but are those rumblings outside the building or in the building? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good.
Because people talk, because the radio talks about it, or the talking heads on radio, TV, just because they talk about it doesn't make it legit.
What do you mean?
Other than us. So anyway, I would say that was a big one. But then my counter to the lack of production, if you will, for him is kind of a twofold. He set the bar. If you're going to compare him to a bar that he set a couple years ago, where he was, he was doing everything. He set his own bar really high, right? Like, he's a leader back there. Now there were some rumblings that maybe there were some mistakes. Now whether that's by him or he was noticing other people making mistakes, whatever that is. Again, we're not in the ropes, inside the lines. We don't know. But he set a bar really high. All pro. This, that, and the other. And so those are expectations you have to do every year. And so that's one side. Then what I'm also going to say is, as a defensive back, corner, safety, if I'm a cornerback and I don't have a lot of like interceptions or pass breakups, a lot of times it's because people don't throw it at me.
Sure.
And that also speaks for how good you are. So maybe his production's down because people just aren't taking those shots.
Sure.
Maybe. Again, this is all just asking the question. I don't have the analytics. Maybe the analytics or the stats say that he has given up more big plays on him than we've seen. I don't know that, but I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe it's because people aren't taking the shots at him.
No, I totally agree, and I can understand the argument from the fan base of the lack of production thing. But correct me if I'm wrong, and not even correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just ask this question: did they move Minkah from the position he was playing?
So from what I had seen, yes, a little bit. Trying to move him in the box, move him back, kind of getting him around. And sometimes that's tricky too, because that can get you out of position when you're playing a position that's not your mainstay position, right? Yeah. You're like, okay, let's move him in the box, or let's move him out of the box. Sure. Let's move him around. Sometimes you can make a mistake. If you go from a free safety to a strong safety, that'd be like me taking an outside receiver that is like an outside X, which is like usually the single receiver side, where he knows he's doing this over and over, and when you ask him to do something, he's doing this. And now all of a sudden you put him to the trip side where there's three receivers, he's outside. Well, now he's got two more guys inside him that in his mind, he's doing these things. And when you ask him to do the same thing on the other side, well, your depth might have to be more important because there's other receivers inside you, or vice versa. I'm just saying that there can be some mistakes when you're moving people around as much as there is. And I'm not saying there were mistakes for him, but I'm saying that could justify where there might be some error because you're moving guys around.
I feel like that was a major contributor to the lack of production, if we want to call it that, for what Minkah was going through the last 2 years. I understand that argument, though. Family's like, hey, listen, man, like he was, to your point, setting a crazy bar.
Right.
He gets moved around. That's, not happening the same, or at least as frequent as we'd like to see it. Now, what you get in return, like Jalen Ramsey is an absolute animal, like for sure. My biggest hang up was when I heard about this news is I thought this was going to be a huge culture loss. I was like, when you think about what Minkah is, you think about what Minkah contributes to the team. Obviously, you can read numbers and do the math there. Be like, okay, because I would imagine they're going to ask Jalen to play a little bit more safety.
Probably nickel. I would imagine he'll play in the nickel.
Sure,
like bring him inside. I would think a little bit of that because he's been.
And he can.
Yes, he can. I don't know. Is he the same dude that he was as a lockdown corner outside? I don't think, because this is, I think, fifth team. There's a reason that happens.
Yeah. Don't
know what that is, but I'm with you. I haven't been in the locker room for a few years now, so I don't know how things have culturally changed in that locker room in terms of how do people, like, what's the locker room thinking right now? When you're losing a leader like Minkah, a guy that is just a worker, doesn't talk a lot, but it works. When I was there, if this would have happened, like the couple years ago, what I knew, there would be some upset dudes in that locker room. I'd assume it's still the same way.
Sure.
But no, to your point, I think you hit the nail on the head. It feels like you're losing a lot of the Steeler cultural guys that are in there that know what it is, and you're bringing guys in that are 1-year guys in here, maybe 2-year guys that they know about the Steeler, the logo, but they don't really know it. They don't. It's not branded in their chest. It's not Yellowstone on their chest, right? But that's going to be up for the guys in the locker room to help with that. But again, I don't know. It's an interesting move. Obviously, they were ready to move on. They felt like they were going to they got enough for him. I think as great as Jalen Ramsey is, and I think he will help that team. Obviously, they must feel comfortable too with what they have at safety.
Sure,
I can't imagine like from Jalen going from a lockdown corner to like a nickel kind of corner to a safety. I don't know how much safety he actually plays. I just don't know. Maybe that's a spot they'll put him at, but they must feel really comfortable with who they have at safety at the depth to move on from Minkah. I think it's Jonnu Smith, the tight end that comes in. To me, that might be the bigger deal. I'm not saying anything away from Ramsey.
It's because you're a quarterback.
Probably. He's kind of a special talent. He's a dude that can really open up a field. He's a wide receiver playing tight end kind of guy. You put him opposite Freiermuth. I know you've got Mount Washington out there, but what this guy brings could be something pretty cool. I did text Pat when it happened. He seemed to be really in high spirits. Like he was excited. He goes, I think the two of us can really do some cool things. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that transpires. And a young dude that you might be able to keep here for a while. I'm sure Aaron's really excited about it.
Sure.
But to me, that is as big of a deal in this trade as Ramsey, personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't even know he was part of the initial trade. All you saw with the headlines.
And the Steelers have been there have been some talks about him and the Steelers for like a little bit now.
Yep.
So I think it was a way they were able to get him in this trade,
Yeah, and this is something I said to you when we were kind of texting about it. It just seems the whole offseason right now, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It might mean the start of a new era, which is interesting in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is very set in its ways as far as how we get things done here. Yep. But it feels like the way we're going about things is so anti-Pittsburgh. And from what, again, I wasn't born and raised in this city, and so the Yinzers feel free to weigh in on this, but it seems like Pittsburgh historically has been a team that kind of develops its stars. Right, we draft you, and you are a Steeler truth, like you're saying. The logo, like it's in your blood here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this offseason, it's like it feels like it's kind of acting like a NBA team where we're just trying to. Where's all the talent? Let's go get it. It is very indicative of like let's win this championship now.
Yes.
Why? I mean, other than like we want to compete every year, but it seems more urgent right now.
Yeah, I imagine. I don't know the exact reason. I can just speculate.
That's what we're here for. That's what the internet is here for. Speculation.
But you are Jason Lane calling me. Don't people know?
Wow.
Well, I guess they don't know it's live. They
wow.
can't
You should know better.
voicemail. Sorry, Jason.
Should answer it.
You're right. It felt like this team was always built on the guys drafted, and or guys that you went and got like the 20s, the mid to late 20 somethings that were like about to go into a second contract or early. And it seems like recently it's like, okay, now we're going for like the 30 somethings or 40, Aaron. The 30 somethings that are kind of on their last, which when you're going for the 20 somethings, that's still building for the future. That's okay. We got a guy for the 5-10 years moving forward. This feels like we're getting guys for like a 1 to 2, maybe 3-year stint, depending on what. And to me, that says we have to win now. Mm-hmm. Now, my speculation on that is maybe a couple things. I'm just trying to rack my brain around it. Maybe they feel the defense is getting older. Sure. Cam, what's TJ? What's going on with TJ? Like, listen, if TJ doesn't come here.
Bro, that's another thing we need. Like, everybody got a pay raise on the most expensive defense in the league.
Yes.
And you got your star player over there asking, like, hey, man.
What's going on? Yeah. So that's a whole nother animal that we have to address. But I think it's like, okay, we want to try and get one for some of these older guys on defense. And honestly, I think there's probably a little bit of everybody's got to be feeling the no playoff win pressure. Yes. And we've heard Evan talk about it, and we've seen the family talk about it on here. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're over 500. Whoop-de-doo now. Mm-hmm. Like it's and as much as Coach T, like it can act like that's not that's not important. That is an important thing.
It's not a bad thing. No.
It's not a bad thing. But winning a playoff game is more important. And obviously getting
Super Bowl.
More just one, but a Super Bowl. I just think that the pressure's kind of being felt, and maybe it's coming down from the top, maybe it's from the fans, whatever it is. I feel like there's got to be some pressure, and it's like, listen, we're all in. Like we're DK Metcalf, we're Aaron Rodgers and Ramsey, and now getting addition by subtraction, as coaches say, getting rid of Minkah, does feel a little counterintuitive, but obviously to get the guys they wanted that they feel can be the right now guys, and maybe there's more to the Minkah thing. Maybe there's things that we just don't know about. So, but it really feels like it's we're going all in right now,
which is listen, not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like you want to get the best talent you can to try to win. Right. All for it. It's just interesting when we talk about in the draft, it was like Steeler DNA. Building, that was a big thing. And I think the draft, I will give it to them. I think they did that. I think they got guys that,
for sure,
that, kind of embody Steeler DNA. The interesting thing is when you then fill your team with a bunch of people that are not really
Steeler DNA.
Maybe they have it. Like maybe they have it the same way that like the guys getting drafted have to learn it, but who on the team, Alex, Cam, defense, I would say Pat is kind of got the torch passed to him, but now you got guys that they have rings. I mean, they filled the holes in the secondary that were an issue last year with guys that have rings, which is, very valuable. When you talk about what it means to be a Steeler, having pride in that logo, and knowing what it means well enough to be able to pass it to the young bucks that have the Steeler DNA, your Zach Frazier's, but you don't have all the old heads you brought in. They're like, that, you know what I mean? They don't have it.
I wonder if there isn't something there in the sense that like, I'm thinking of like for just Aaron, for instance, maybe there's something there where, he doesn't have it necessarily in his blood, but he knows what it is to play against them. Yes. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's like a secondhand DNA. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
no, I think Aaron, yes, I do. That does make sense. I think Aaron is probably an exemption to the complaint because I think he comes from an era where playing the Steelers was like, oh, we're playing this.
Yeah, we played him. Played him many times here, there, Super Bowl. I mean, all this stuff. So he knows it'd be like. Maybe not the same, but like me going to a place because you played so long. It's like I know what it is to be maybe not exactly like it, but I know what it is to go play for this city or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Do you think like teams within a division probably know that better than other teams? You think if Ray Lewis came to Pittsburgh, he'd be like, "Oh, I know what Steelers."
Yes, for sure. Yeah. In your division, there's no doubt. Like you can go be a part of. I mean, if I wanted to go, I knew if I were to go play in Baltimore, we would never do it. If I wanted to go play in Baltimore, I would know that it's tough nose, it's physical. I could fit in that culture. Yeah. It'd be hard to fit into Cleveland because I win.
I was waiting for it.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
I was thinking.
Just joking.
I was thinking like, okay, what's going to be the Cleveland?
Just joking. Just joking. Again, love that fan base.
Dude,
but anyway,
dog pound's real.
It is.
The dog pound is real. The team.
So anyway, so I think there's definitely something there when it comes to him being able to help.
Well, and that goes back to kind of the initial point. Is like, is it a new era? Because we'd asked this question. New Aaron?
New era.
Oh, bro. Brand new Aaron. Is it a new era of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to look like? Because that was something that you heard rumblings last couple of years of like, hey man, like we got to this is an offensive dominated league. Mm-hmm. We are defensive through and through and running the ball, right? And it didn't seem to have been producing the same historically as it had. Is this okay? Let's kind of. This is what the Steeler way of the future looks like.
Well, I don't know because they put. I mean, look at the amount of money that's put on the defense.
Yeah.
Did you do that to stop all these high-powered offenses? When you get in the league, when you're a team in this league, and the league goes through ebbs and flows, right? Of like, okay, all of a sudden everyone's going 5 wide receivers. They're trying to how many points can everybody score? To okay, let's run the ball. Let's figure out this or a quarterback that's more mobile that can do less pocket passing, moving around. The league goes through these ebbs and flows of different styles of play. And so when you have a league that is scoring more points, okay, over the all 32 teams, scoring is up. Okay, I assume, I don't know if it is, but just let's say scoring's
AWS.
up. Yeah, let's say scoring's up. As a team, Steelers, whatever team you want to say, you have 2 options. You either invest in your offense to score with everyone else, or you try and invest in your defense to stop everyone else. The Steelers have always been, always maybe a strong word, have almost always been a let's defense. Mm-hmm. Let's find a way to get a defense. Like I've told any running back or rookie that comes in here, the Pittsburgh Steelers will always be about defense and a running back. Accept it. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with that, and I tried to preach that to Naj.
Said it to Will when he
was James Conner, who obviously knew from being around here that's what it's about, and that's great. No matter when we were the flying high offense, the killer bees, when we were scoring, we were the top scoring offense in the league, and we were putting up all those points and all those numbers. It was still about the defense. Like that's what everyone wants. Like we got to have a defense that can stop people. So I just think that's what that's the mentality that this city and this team and the ownership and the head coach, all the way from Coward, Knoll, all those guys to Tomlin now, they want to build a defense that can stop people. And that's what they're investing in. Now, I think they found ways. Obviously, they put a lot of money to the DK Metcalf contract. It's spread out, but it's still a lot of money to that guy. They've got some good tight ends, kind of getting the line back together. You've got Aaron. So they're doing, it feels like they're putting pieces into place on offense. Yeah. But it's still, they've invested in the defense to try and stop people.
Yeah.
And they still have to invest in one more guy, obviously, who's one of the baddest dudes to play. But at some point, they've got to do that.
I mean, I have so many questions.
There's got to be somewhere in this thing. There's got to be a hang up between the two. I mean, it could be one thing. Yeah. It could be 3 or 4 things. Like, and again, totally just throwing random things out there. It could be like say they're saying, okay, we're going to offer a 4-year contract, or he wants a 4-year contract. They could be like the first 3 years, year 1 we agree, year 2 we agree, year 3 we agree, year 4 I don't know that this, TJ might be like, well, year 4 I'd like this. Team might be like, well, we'd want this. And that could derail the whole thing. It could be a guaranteed money in year 4 only. It could be a no trade clause in year 4. Like there could be some, or it could be something huge, but it could be something that small that we don't even know how close they are to getting it done. But it's like we're so close, but yet so far.
Yeah,
because it feels very far right now.
It does. And again, my main concern here is going to be the culture. It's like because we've seen what the Steelers look like when the culture feels off in the locker room. The last couple of years, the quarterback debacle, where's the leaders on offense, like the holes in the secondary, which, I think we have the talent to fix some of the talent issues that we've had. But the problem is when the culture isn't solidified, it doesn't matter how much talent you have because they're not playing together, right? And so now you got really good talent just trying to, they're on their own little islands. They're not coming together. And I think with the Minkah thing, that's going to be a huge cultural impact on the guys, not only because of his playing. Yes, I'll give you the production down thing. You can have that, sure. But what he meant to those guys,
no doubt.
What he meant to the fan base. I went to the day that happened, the WWE was in town. They did Monday Night Raw and they filmed SmackDown. So it was like a doubleheader. I found out that morning I almost wore a Minkah jersey to the thing, but I went there with a couple of guys from the team and I didn't want that to be a thing. But just because it was for the fan base, it was like, that's our guy, man.
Yeah, I think the fans like Minkah too. Like there's some guys that like when they've, no knock on Naj, but I think when Naj got, or Pickens got out, the fans were like, there's some fans I was like, no, but they're like, you know what, good riddance. I can't imagine there's too many people that are like good riddance Minkah.
Even the people that are like, no, good trade, talent level is like, but all right, but it's Mink. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So my point in saying that is like with that happening on defense, and then if you can't work out a thing with TJ, and God forbid he goes somewhere else, what are we doing? Or maybe even worse, you do work something out, but it's bad blood. And now it's like, I don't like how this got done. And now I'm over here and it's like, I'm glad we did get it done. Let's focus on ball. But it's like the distrust from maybe the higher ups is just.
Yeah, I think if they get TJ done, but TJ's got 1 year left anyway. So either he holds out and doesn't play, he comes here. I mean, he's only got so many options, right?
Yeah.
He either just bites the bullet and comes here and plays and then, does his thing. He doesn't come and play and sits out all year. They trade him, they get the deal done, whatever it is. I think if the deal gets done, I think you typically you kind of forget about or the bad blood, like why did it take them team so like once it's done, you're like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I think that's okay. But if they don't get something done and excuse me, TJ doesn't show up or shows up and I'm just trying to think in my head, like, what is TJ going to do? Like, if they don't get a deal done, will he show up and not do anything?
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't seem like him.
No, TJ's very much like can we just work?
Yeah, or is he going to show up and just go and work and literally just, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not doing anything, I'm just going to work.
Which is another frustrating thing because I understand the media, it's a big story and the media has to have things to talk about. I mean, we're sitting here running our mouths about it right now, but there seems to be more and more things that like start painting narratives and and I don't like that. Right.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a million things out there with brothers doing stuff and this, that, and the other. I'll put the narrative out there that, and maybe not the first one, but I'll reiterate it if someone else said it, is maybe the team just doesn't want him around right now because to protect him from himself. Like he's going to be ready to go. Sure. Like this, you think he's just sitting around like waiting? Like I'm just going to sit on my couch and not get up until I get a contract. No, dude is working his butt off right now. So he will be ready day one when it's time. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels it's going to be crazy around here if they don't get something done.
I just can't. Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy.
I was gonna say I can't imagine that, but
or if they trade it, if they do something bizarre and do something like that.
What's the response if they trade? It's interesting. Speaking to some real Yinzers, some of them are okay with that. The idea of that.
I've heard that.
Which to me is crazy, but I will admit that I'm biased.
Yeah. So I would say this because that just made me think about something else. Like, if you were gonna. Because people think, I'm going to try and wrap all this up in one thing.
I believe
people think that you have to tank in order to get a high draft pick. You don't. You do not have to tank. Or not tank, lose.
Sure.
You don't have to have a bad record to get a high pick. That's one way to get a high pick.
Right.
But there are other ways to get high draft picks. And if you want to get a high draft pick to get a quarterback or, trade for one that you really, there's ways to go about that. Could they have, if they knew they wanted to move on from Minkah, could they have not have done it before the draft to move up in the draft? Okay.
Sure.
So that's something I'm like, okay. So they could have done that. Is that their next thinking? Is that a thinking with TJ? Do you trade him? Because listen, you trade TJ, you're going to get draft stock.
Yeah.
Is that a thought? I think that's crazy, but it is a thought. There are ways to move up in the draft besides having a bad record. So you don't have to go 6-10 or whatever to get a high pick or 4-3 and whatever it is. You can also trade and move things around to get a good player in the draft.
Sure.
So. But again, I'm still on the Will Howard bandwagon. Like, I want to see him play because I think he's going to have a chance to be good.
Well, that was my other concern with the all chips in this year is that if we fall short again this year, I mean, Aaron's made it pretty clear that this is going to be it.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing? What are you doing moving forward?
Well, you have to see what's in the draft.
You know what I mean? Like,
who knows?
You're hoping there's either another quarterback in the draft or Will. Again, I'm high on Will as well. I think he's going to be great. But you're hoping that pans out, that the year under Aaron is. But if not, or even if still, then you're back into a rebuilding, restructuring. You're back into this thing.
I'll say this though, like Will Howard is behind the 8 ball big time in the sense that he was a 6th rounder, and so unless he comes out, hear me out now. Unless he comes out at some point this year for whatever reason, like he have to play this year.
Yeah.
Not just practice like Aaron would have to get hurt or we don't want that, but Will would have to play and play well. Otherwise, they're probably going to go draft a quarterback high. When they draft a quarterback high, they're never, not going to say never is strong. They're most likely, very, very strongly, most likely not going to put the 6th rounder in above a high draft pick.
Business. It's business.
Otherwise, it's like, oh, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Same reason you draft quarterbacks in the 3rd or 4th round and you don't move on from them. Because you're like, oh, we don't want to say we made a mistake.
Sure.
So Will is going to be behind the 8. So he's that dude. Even when he's playing well, they're not going to put him ahead of a high drafted dude.
He's going to have to roll out and do one of yours.
He's going to have to come in like this year, or it's going to have to be like, holy cow, like this dude can play. So Will's road is going to be tough here in Pittsburgh, I believe, unless he gets a chance to get out there and he plays well right from the get-go. He's not going to be able to have hiccups.
So we're going to get to see a little bit of him in the preseason.
I would see all of him.
Yeah.
I would
because you know what Mason can do.
I would do, but here's what I would do. I would split time with Mason and Will.
Sure.
In the preseason. Aaron's not.
You don't think Aaron gets no snaps?
No,
last game.
I think that he should. I think he should just because of the system and some guys. But you also can't afford to you don't want to lose him either.
He's in this 40.
So yes, he should get some. But I would split as many reps as I can with Will and Mason because you want to see each guy with the same offense, right? The ones or whatever it is. Because otherwise, it's like, okay, if I see Mason with the ones because Aaron's not in. And he does well, and then Will comes in with the 2s, 3s, and stuff like that, and he doesn't do well. You're like, how do we know?
Yeah.
So you want to see as much equal playing ground as you can. So I would want to see a lot of that in the preseason, and it is still the preseason.
Okay,
but at least you get to see something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he comes in and he is with the ones, and he plays a significant amount of time for the preseason and balls out, or is it like, oh, it's a preseason, or is it like, oh my gosh, there's something there?
A little bit. It's like preseason, but you can still see if there's something there. I think they'd be playing for the backup job.
Sure,
like that's what I'd be doing. Like, okay, this whoever is the better one here is my 2. So I just think that'd be the smartest move in my opinion to do in the preseason to give those guys let them battle for the number 2 spot. And you definitely are going to say it's a preseason, it's not that big of a deal, but you can see something. Like I don't even remember my rookie year preseason. I don't know if I did any good or not. Like I have no clue. I just remember how far
he'll tell us
how far Detroit. I had to go to the locker room as I did a 2-minute drill and I was exhausted. Ran the tunnel, got all the way to the locker room, sat down. Whew, that was a long way to the field. They're like, all right, 2 minutes, bring it up. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? I thought half times were longer than this.
Can a brother get a golf cart?
Yeah, and I asked for my hip and butt pads, which they don't wear in the NFL. I didn't know that. I was like, hey, Rogers, I don't have my hip and butt pads. Like, where's my son? This is the NFL. We don't wear pads. Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Shout out, Raj.
He said, boy, come on.
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
That's so funny.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think it's really cool. I saw a clip of the offense. I think Aaron had the receivers, a couple tight ends together working out, which was really cool to see that. I'm really excited to see what this offense can do with Aaron. You know, it's. I feel like we've been in this quarterback purgatory for a while since you left, and like it feels like the best shot we have is getting another like grizzled veteran back there. So I feel like it's a framework that the coaching staff is familiar with, right? So I would imagine they're hoping it produces the same results,
Right.
But then again, I'm just concerned of like, are we too nearsighted?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah, it's
Because
there's a lot of questions that won't get. I mean, we won't have answers till
maybe
weeks 5 or 6.
ask ChatGPT. Maybe
ChatGPT, let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah,
I don't know. So, a lot of questions, a lot of lack of answers.
But ultimately, for the Minkah trade, do you feel like that is net positive? Or can you even give something that absolute? Or is it like, all right, cool, man?
Man. Not being in the locker room. So, again, if I'm answering it off of when I was in the locker room with Minkah,
Yeah.
I would not say it's a net positive just because of a dude. He's a dude. He's a leader. He's a guy that just goes about his business.
Because of how high you view Minkah.
Yes, how high view Minkah. That being said, when you can go a 2-for-1er, you know, you get Ramsey and Smith.
Studs.
2 dudes. That's a big deal. You get one on both sides of the ball. Again, we may be looking at this in week 3 or 4 and being like that might have to be when this is answered.
Yeah.
Right now, it's all going to be on paper, one, and in your heart as like where's the passion? Like, are you, as a fan, are you mad because you think that they're not sticking with their Steeler guys, or are you Minkah hasn't made any plays, so we're not doing that. Like, there's a lot of like that kind of out there. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I just think the culture thing is going to play a bigger part, man. I don't know anything about Jalen Ramsey. I mean, just because he's not been on this team. You hear reports, obviously. I think something just came out yesterday about more details on that whole exit from Miami and what might have contributed to that. And what I do know is that the tension that we had culturally with GP, that was impacting. We were seeing that on the field. I'm not saying that's the same thing. I want to give dudes the benefit of the doubt, but
This is his 5th team, I think.
you always run the risk.
What's the?
You always run the risk. Yeah. So, but again, talent. Coach. You do have Coach T out there that a lot of dudes want to play for. Would that be enough to kind of curb some of those things if that does exist?
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I think 11 dudes moving in one direction is better than 11 really talented guys kind of doing their own thing.
Yep. Team is the ultimate team sport. Not one dude. So
we'll see.
Unless TJ is one dude, though. That's more than one dude.
unless 90 shows up.
Yeah, let's sign him.
That's
for
crazy.
thinking about it, but
all right, we'll get out of here because I know we got some other stuff going on. But before we do, it's just last TJ thing. What's the deadline for that? Because
week 1.
You think like all throughout training camp?
Listen, if I'm the Steelers and I'm the quarter, like I'm like, listen, week 1 we're here. What time's a 1:00 game? Hey, I'll see you.
12:59.
12:59. I would be just completely happy. I'd be in the locker room. TJ walked in. I'd be like,
my man,
let's go. No animosity, no feeling any kind of way. Glad you're here. Hug him. Let's go get it done. Dude has earned it.
Yeah.
So, yep. As coaches say, the 11th hour.
I feel like
we're not blinking. We cut our eyelids off. We ain't blinking.
Feels like we're in it, brother.
We are there. We're almost the 11th hour. We're in like the 10th and a half hour.
Yeah.
12th hour.
10th 45 hour.
10th, 40, 50th hour.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right. So we're done.
Yeah. That's how you want to end it? So we're done.
We're done. Yeah, nothing else. 4th of July was good. We'll move on from that quick. So fireworks.
We did sparklers for the first time, dude. With y'all.
Sparklers scare me because that is as hot as a blowtorch.
Oh, no, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, let's touch that. Nope, let's not touch that.
Then our neighbors came over and gave those little poppers.
Yeah,
and
those
dude,
are fun.
man, I couldn't figure out a more fun way to ruin my driveway than those little things,
Oh, yeah.
bro.
Well, the rain's going. You'll wash them all out.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's it. We'll see if any more trades or anything happens before next week, or we're just going to be talking about nothing again.
Yeah.
We have just a couple more.
Well, dude.
And
yeah.
how's that cookbook coming?
I was gonna say, we're on the same page, man. Cookbook's done, bro. The cookbook is finished. It will be in your hand. I don't know. Week 1. It'll be available for purchase soon. We're working on some really cool things for the rollout. Maybe you guys can come out and see the big fella and Pittsburgh's favorite chef.
Ooh.
And pick up a cookbook somewhere. If you guys want to do that, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you guys want to do like an event, like a live cookbook release.
Ooh.
That'd be kind of cool.
Cool.
Eat a little something.
Love it.
Ask some Q's. Get some
Maybe
A's.
some A's.
You know what I mean? It'd be a good time. Yeah, so that's finished and we'll get it to you. Other than that, we appreciate you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
See you when we see you.